Hello, my name is Logan Kaler. This is a special interview with mayoral candidate Elijah Stines. He is the current standing city council member for the 3rd Ward, and he decided a few months back that he's going to throw his name in the hat for mayor. Now I'm going to let Elijah take the floor. Let Elijah tell me a little bit about himself and why he decided that he wanted to run for mayor. Elijah?
Thanks for your time, and thanks for doing this service for the citizens so that we can talk about our different positions and our backgrounds and why we're running. So I really appreciate that. Like I said, my name is Elijah Stines. I serve as City Council Member Ward 3 since 2017. I was re-elected in 2021. A little bit about my personal background. I was born in Cherokee, Iowa, and grew up in Holstein, Iowa, which is a town about 1,200 people. So I'm a product of a small town. Small towns have always been where I wanted to be and where I wanted to raise my family. I got my bachelor's and master's degree, bachelor's in psychology and mathematics at University of South Dakota, my master's degree in mathematics at University of South Dakota. And that's where I met the love of my life, Katie Paulson, who's now Katie Stines, and we got married. And then after I finished my master's degree, I wanted to pursue further education and get a PhD in mathematics. And the place that I wanted to be was Iowa State University. So Iowa State has been a great fit since 2008 when I started there. But the one thing was, when we moved back to Iowa, back for me, we moved to Ames to be close to the university, but it just wasn't the right fit. And it was because it was a town that wasn't where we had grown up, the type of town we grew up in. And Katie got a job at the Boone News-Republican, and we saw Boone and we saw the potential that it had for us and our family, and we immediately started looking for a house. We moved here in late 2008 and never looked back. And I'm so fortunate that after I earned my PhD, I got taken on as a full-time staff member or faculty member in the math department, and I've been there ever since, and I've risen through the ranks. In advancement, I'm a full teaching professor. I'm associate chair of the Department of Mathematics, so I oversee all of the teaching quality. And so I take that role very seriously, and it's something that has informed my ability to work in large complex systems and things like that, and governmental systems, and follow procedures and rules, and listen to different perspectives on what people need. So we have 3 kids, Avery, Edith, and Henry, 11, 9, and 5, and they keep us really busy, but that's one of the reasons why I wanted to run for office in the first place and run for mayor, is that I want this city to be a great place for them to grow up in, and if they decide to stay, a great place for them to have raise their families as well, so that they have the opportunities necessary for them to do what they want in life and to have an enjoyable experience and a productive life. Other reasons why I decided to run is I have the experience from being on city council for 6 years, and I have been so impressed by the level of investment that our citizens have in our city, and a lot of the great projects that they've taken on themselves, and the improvements, for example, that they're making in downtown on their own. And I want to be a catalyst to help them pursue that and work closely with the city and private citizens to move those forward. I also want to tackle some deferred maintenance issues on our water, wastewater, sewer, and our parks system as well. So I think those are all areas that there's a lot of interest from the people of Boone for us to make continued investment, tackle, like I said, tackle those deferred maintenance issues, and especially like on the parks, which is something that our parks are beyond compare, and our citizens are so proud of them, and we need to do our best to make sure that they are up to their fullest potential. So, a myriad of reasons why I would run, but at the end of the day, it's service. I've been pretty committed to service my whole life, starting with my Eagle Scout that I got in high school. When we moved here, one of the first things I did is join the service clubs. I've been a Lion since 2010 or so, something along those lines, and I'm now the president of the local Lions Club. And giving back to the community is something that's incredibly important to me. And that's how I view this position as city council member and hopefully as mayor, as a way that I can serve the citizens and make their lives better.
That's a good answer. So being a public official, did it scare you off even after 2 terms? Not yet.
No, you know, most people, believe it or not, are incredibly grateful that people are stepping forward and taking on these roles because they do see them as somehow thankless, but I have never actually found that. I've always found that people are grateful when you just take the time to listen to their concern and you take them seriously, even if at the end of the day there's not a whole lot substantively that you can do to improve it, but you understood their situation as an individual and you cared about it. That goes a long way for everybody. And so, you know, there's certain things that we just are constrained whether we can or cannot do it in order to serve the population as a whole. But no, I think that it's something that I've been able to perform well in my job duties and represent my constituents well, and even people that are not technically my constituents. I really feel like anybody in the city of Boone can come to me if they have an issue that they want to run by me.
Yeah. Speaking of past projects, give me a few examples of the projects that you've worked on as a council member that you are the most proud of or that you had the most enjoyment of being part of.
So when we talk about, you know, projects, there are things that we do that's under the radar that people don't really know about, but beginning to address a lot of these deferred maintenance issues on our wastewater treatment plant and having the impetus to do that with the utility committee has been something that is not glamorous, but I think it's incredibly important. And I'm glad that I'm with a group of people in that committee that's been willing to tackle that problem, because we need to have a long-term strategy to be prepared for any kind of legislative changes that come that put additional requirements on our water and wastewater treatment plants. So we need to be prepared for that when that comes. And so having that forethought has been something that I've been proud of. You know, every year we have a goal-setting session for council that happens in December. It sets the stage and the budgetary priorities for when the budget is made. My first goal-setting session, I made it a goal to focus on downtown Boone. And that has been a standing goal for council since I brought it up and I had it on the agenda. And, you know, COVID happens, things happen, you know, it goes in fits and starts, but if we're looking at our occupancy in our downtown businesses right now, it's pretty much 100% occupancy. And so being involved with that and this really championing these businesses and these people that are putting their blood, sweat, and tears into what they feel passionate about and just elevating them has been really, really enjoyable for me. And you know, having the previous last weekend, the Sips On story, and seeing the number of people that really went down and enjoyed themselves, found new businesses to patronize, it really feels like it is paying off. Good deal. And also, you know, speaking of downtown, the upcoming tree planting, I am very, very excited about that. Trees are something that I started off with as an issue that I think it was really important to replant a lot of the street trees, and especially after the derecho, if we lost so many trees, it just helps in ways that people may not even imagine. Quality of life, you know, energy consumption, public safety. In fact, the more trees you have, the less crime you have. It's kind of statistically proven. So things like that have been pretty important to me. But I would have to say that it's not a project. It's just a commitment to citizens, and you know, the thing that I'm most proud about is just helping people with their individual concerns. Even if it's a weird place in the street that, you know, didn't get patched over by a contractor, making sure to contact the correct people in order to get that done, answering a simple question about, you know, why a sign is the way it is or when it's going to get replaced and things like that. You know, I feel like that's me doing my duty, and I really enjoy doing that most of all.
Good. So looking forward to the future, hypothetically speaking, say the city of Boone decides that they want you to be mayor. What are some maybe small-term and even long-term goals that you'd like to achieve?
Yeah, so in the short term, what I'd really like to do when I take office is something really simple that people have asked about is hold public office hours, where it's posted prominently on, the city will put it on the website, put it on their social media. The mayor's office hours are these days and these times, and anybody is welcome to come in and just visit, give me a concern, tell me about what's going on in their life. Being present is really what I think I can achieve right out of the gate, and making citizens feel heard and comfortable coming to me, and even other council members. With the council to come to me individually and say, I have a concern with this, or I want to work with you on that, I have this idea, and I want them to feel very comfortable coming to me and that I'm going to take their issues and ideas seriously. So that's immediately. Another thing that's sort of a medium-term and ongoing thing is I think having more engagement with the public as far as a listening session prior to that goal-setting session that I mentioned, where the council and mayor, the city administrator, have a time where citizens can come forward and discuss what are their priorities, what are their concerns just in general, and hopefully that leads us to consider different things when we go to our goal-setting session. We can be a little bit more informed of what's on people's minds, and that would include both a physical in-person meeting and something of a suggestion box, an electronic suggestion box for folks that can't make it. Other things are making sure that council members are invested in the committees that they're assigned to. So I want them to let me know what committees they have an interest in serving on. And obviously there are 3 members per committee. Everybody can't get everything they want, but I want them to know that I value their opinion in those matters. And sometimes, like for me, I didn't know I would have an interest in the utility committee. I got put on it, but I was like, I really like doing this. I really like this committee and thinking about these issues. So a little bit of a mix of those, but I want to take the preferences into account. Sure. Longer term, I have talked about working with the Park Commission on creating a 10-year comprehensive plan for all of our parks to address the stump issue, to address upgrading our play equipment, adding some play equipment that is accessible to children with physical and developmental disabilities, and really actively working on grant applications and funding mechanisms that are out there that need to be taken advantage of, and engaging the public with this venture, because we have a Boone City Parks Foundation. They used to do fundraisers all the time. That hasn't been the case for about 6 years, and I'd like them to take an active role in bringing awareness, getting people interested, and people want to give. People want to give their time, their talents, their funds, if you ask them, because they value the parks so much. And it's similar to, my wife is the secretary for the Friends of the Library. And you would not believe the outpouring of support that people give if they're just asked, because the library is such an important aspect of their life, and it's an important aspect of the character of this community, and the parks are the same way.
Okay, Elijah, so why do you think that people should vote for you?
That's a great question. I feel like, I have the experience on council. I know the issues pretty intimately for a long time. I've worked on a lot of them. I can hit the ground running. That's one thing. I have an education. I have been in institutions where there's a lot of give and pull, a lot of conflicting priorities that you have to navigate in order to come to an optimal solution that's not going to be perfect for everyone, but it optimizes everybody's satisfaction level. I'm enthusiastic about this. I really care about the people of Boone. I really care about giving this my all. And I'm empathetic. I really take people's individual concerns to heart, and I want to do the best that I can for them as an individual while serving the city as a whole.
Okay, Elijah, I think this is a good stopping point.
Perfect.
You gave us quite a bit of information to to look back on, and we can, it gives the city of Boone an idea of
Sure.
who you are as a person, and the compassion that you have for this community. If anybody is interested in reaching out to Elijah and chit-chatting with him, hearing more about him or what he does, what's a good way for people to contact you?
Yeah, I have email, which is stinesformayor@gmail.com. I have my phone number is 605-670-9120, 20-year-old cell phone number. I have my Facebook page, was facebook.com/stinesformayor, and I have a website, which is stinesformayor.com.
Perfect. All right. Thanks for stopping in.
Thanks, Logan. Appreciate your time.